few stragglers back there, right? Hey, the sooner I get done, the sooner you get out of here. All right. So yes, I promise we're on the last front here. We're Social Security, which since this is a pre-retirement class, I should have my ears perked up. I'm not saying you're 67 or anything like that, but pre-retirement class, you should have our ears perked up. Okay. So we're going to just finish out Social Security. I think we do a little bit of estate planning there towards the end if I have time. Chris did not leave me a lot of time. Okay. Social Security. How do I qualify? We need 40 quarters to qualify for Social Security. In 2020, you need to make $1,410 to earn a quarter. You can earn all 4 quarters in the same year. So it's $5,640, and you can earn that all at the same time. Okay? You can earn all 4 quarters during any time of the year. So if you earn that all in 1 month, great. You earned all of your quarters. Okay? So I don't know if you guys have ever gone on and printed off a Social Security statement, but I'm going to tell you to do it. I don't know. I'll get to it. SSA.gov/my account. Maybe you guys are sitting here, yep, I have it. Great. If you haven't, please go on and find out how much they are calculating for your Social Security. And you'll see there, wow, I made how much when I was, my college job, my first job. That's a couple of my people are like, man, a couple $100 are on there, all right? I don't know what yours was, but I was an ice cream scooper, all right? That was my first job. So again, you need 40 quarters. We pay 6.2%. And as we speak, the maximum income subject to Social Security is $137,000. That goes up every year. There's a lot of, we could say, issues, right, with Social Security, a number of things, a lot of worries people worry about, right? I have a feeling that'll be one thing that'll be talked about for a while, is how do we make up the difference, okay? And I'll get into this. What, did anyone know Social Security is running out of money, right? I think we've heard that. Everyone's laughing. It's running out of money? Isn't it already out of money? Right? So again, you couldn't pay me enough to be a politician, but it sounds like there's some things that need to be fixed within the internal system, okay? And that's why I always say this goes up every year. I'd be shocked if that doesn't continue to increase, and do we increase it even further to make up the difference here in a little bit, okay? So the reason why I want you all to go on and register for Social Security to make sure you have your statement is because it's based on an average. So it's an indexed average, and they're going to take your highest 35 working years. So what do we know about an average? I don't want any zeros in that block, all right? I doubt there would be, but you want to make sure there's no zeros. It's going to bring down your average, okay? So again, they track your 35 years of working history. At the bottom here, again, SSA.gov/my account instead of planners, and we'll bring you to actually your account and registration. But we do have a few calculator tools. If you do not want to sign up for an analysis, you can at least maybe check out some of the tools there. It's not going to obviously be as in depth, but it will maybe enough to let you dial down that rabbit hole, whatever it is. Once they have your indexed average, they then use a formula to get your primary insurance amount. And that formula is used on a progressive formula using bend points. So you can see you get 90% of the first $960 of that average, 32% of anywhere between $960 and we'll call it $5,800, and then you get 15% of anything over that $5,700 number. Okay, so this is how they're taking from your average what they actually pay out to. I know you're looking at that like, well, that seems like Chinese. Here's the math, okay? So if someone has an average of $6,000, right, based on their working history, they get 90% of the first 960, 864, 32%, 1544, and then of course, 15% of the last $215 there. So their full retirement age, 67, this person born at 1955, works out to $2,440 a month, okay, based on that indexed average. All right. If you don't want to do it that way, you can just go on to Social Security's website and they'll print it out for you, and it has it right there listed. Hey, here's what I'm owed at 62, here's what I'm owed at 67, here's what I'm owed at 70, all right? For those folks that don't like, driving down the rabbit hole, all right? They have a system for that. I said this already, but Social Security is a progressive formula, so it's based, and it's the purpose of the whole department is to make up a bigger difference in income for lower wage earners, okay? So essentially it gives them a better deal. Lower wage earners get a better deal with Social Security because it's going to make up a higher portion of their pension, of their income replacement. So if someone has an indexed average of 3,000, right, their Social Security check works out to almost $1,500 a month. So that would replace almost 50% of their income, right? If someone has an indexed average of 5,000, which means over time they had a higher income, their check is going to be higher, right? But it's going to replace a lower portion, a lower percentage of their actual income. Again, it's not because you're bad, it just means you made more money over your career, which hopefully means you saved more, okay? That's the theory. I know it doesn't always work like that, because what's the first thing we do when we start to make more? We spend more, okay? That's a little late for me to start teaching those habits, right? So, no, just kidding. All right. Again, you might have heard me say 67, full retirement age. You can see now that some of you may be earlier, okay, than 67, but because 67 is anyone born 1960 and after, I'm going to use that as my reference today, okay, assuming no one is older than that. I would never assume that. So again, you can see your full retirement age is based on your birthday, but if you hear me say 67, I'm referring to full retirement age. And this is just the overall reduction if you take it at age 62 versus delaying. We're going to actually break that down here. So the benefit of delaying, all right, you have a full primary, your full primary insurance amount is reduced by 0.05% of each month younger than full retirement age. Okay, so about 6.25% per year, all right? So again, if you're 67, you got 6.25% for those 5 years if you take it at 62, okay? Benefit is increased 0.2% for each month past full retirement age, okay? So again, full retirement age 67, that means I can defer, right, and receive an 8% increase each year on that Social Security check if I wait until 70. If there's anyone in this room that's 70 years old and is not collecting a Social Security check, please remove yourself and go sign up for Social Security right now, okay? I don't think there is, but I'm waiting for someone to stand up one of those times I say this, okay? I hope not anyway, because there's no advantage for you to work or defer, not work, you can work past 70, absolutely, but there's no advantage for you to defer Social Security past 70, okay? And to the gentleman's point, I'm not sure where he went that had the Social Security question, you can earn as much money at this point, okay? 70 and all, you can earn as much money as you want and still collect your Social Security, okay? So that's why if you're working and you're 70 years old, go and bank that Social Security check, okay? Please. It's money that's owed to you, and it's time that you're not going to be able to get back. Cost of living increases are consistent with Social Security as well, okay? So I know that's not very helpful as far as, well, when's the best time to take it, okay? A quick little known pivot play. Again, I have never seen this. I don't think Chris has ever seen this. You do have an opportunity to rescind your application of collecting your benefits within 1 year of receiving those benefits. The only caveat is you have to pay back the money they sent you. So again, me trying to apply real world example, maybe someone gave you a heck of an offer and you went to go back to work and you obviously didn't need the Social Security payments. You obviously will start to earn more income than you're allowed. So maybe you stop to defer them longer. Again, I'm not sure of what the real world application would be to that scenario, because in most cases when you start your Social Security, right, there's a reason. It's probably because we're retired, that sort of thing. But information's power, so we want you to know that you are able to rescind your application within 1 year. Okay, just remember that if you're going to rescind it, you got to pay back what they paid you. Okay, you can receive retroactive payments up to 6 months, but you need to have reached full retirement age in order to do that. Okay, spin in, oops. And then you can also start retirements at age 62, stop at full retirement age 67, and then pick up the benefits again at age 70. I can tell you one thing, that's a financial planner's nightmare. Just from turn one income on, stop the other, turn another one on. Again, I'm not quite sure the real world application of it, but again, everyone's situation is different. So there might be a financial benefit. Our goal is for you to be aware that you are able to start and stop your benefits, okay? Do the math though on what that would play a role in your retirement, okay? So this is a slide I wanted to fast forward to when we had that question about Social Security, okay? I just knew it was way down the road, so I didn't want to fast forward through all these slides. Under your full retirement age, we are aware of the amount we can make. We talked about that in the supplement, $18,240 a year, okay? The year of our full retirement age, we can make $48,600 a year, okay? So you're correct. If you're someone who turns 67 as full retirement age, if you turn 67 in December, guess what? You get a better deal than someone who turns 67 in January, okay? It's $48,000 over that year in which you turn full retirement age, okay? So yes, it does depend on where your birthday falls, okay? However, once you are of full retirement age or older, there's no limit at all. Now this pertains only, maybe that's where the disconnect was earlier, only when you are collecting the check, okay? As far as I signed up for Social Security, I want to receive my Social Security benefits, that's when earnings limits step in, okay? If you're still working and you're not collecting any supplement check, you're not collecting any Social Security check, there is no earnings limit, because what is there an earnings limit on if we're not collecting a check, right? Okay, so I want to make sure that was very clear as far as the limits, and again, I'm not sure why someone would have said there's no limit, because there is, okay? Federal employees, you guys are special, you're not that special, all right? There is still some things you got to pertain to. And then we have a look at men and women. I'm just going to talk about men because the numbers are pretty much the same here. As far as when they claim Social Security, okay? Now this is going 2009, 2014. And we can kind of see, right? I mean, majority of folks collect it as soon as they can. What do you think that has to do with? Is it because I mean, as I've gone over this afternoon, you probably feel where I stand on this, right? Okay? That's just personal belief. Hey, I go to the gym. I take care of myself. I eat well, all right? I could live to 100. But the way I look at it is if there's a crossover point and I'm a cranky 80-year-old saying I could have had more money had I waited, you know what? That's a values-based decision for me. I don't value it that much, okay? But we have to understand, you guys might value that differently. It's very possible we all live to 100. Possible. Okay, maybe that's a stretch. It's more of a possibility. Yes, correct. So almost half of the general population. I mean, again, this is men, women. It's about, again, the numbers are pretty comparative. Think, I guess, along the same line as you and me, right? Hey, you know what? I don't know when my ticker is going to stop. At least I can get something out of it now. For people like me, heck, if I can get anything out of Social Security, I'll be happy. All right? That's a whole different issue. Am I paying into something I'll never see? I don't know. That's conversation for 20 years from now, and I can complain about it, okay? So this is where people's minds are thinking, okay? However, we do need to understand that, again, if your parents are still around, your parents are alive and well, healthy, again, living into their 90s, then maybe you need to consider your life expectancy in delaying your Social Security payment, okay? Again, it's a values-based decision, and heck, if the math works, make the math work, right? But that's the first thing you need to understand is, hey, I could live 30 years in retirement, 20 years in retirement, okay? Or 20 years past 70, okay? I can live till 90, 95. So this is probably the hardest decision as far as did I make the right choice that you'll make in retirement, because you won't know the answer until essentially you die or something happens, right? Okay? So I'm not going to give you some magical answer of, hey, take it at this date if you're this old and take it at this date if this is your situation. There's really no magical answer, all right? But there's a few benefits. Suppose you just turned 62, you could start your benefit. That's what I'll be doing. Okay? Or if you wait till your full retirement age, your benefits will increase by 33%. If you wait until age 70, your benefits will increase by another 32%. So again, by delaying your benefits from 62 to 70, your Social Security benefits do increase by 76%. But remember, that's 8 years of time where you're not taking income. You're not taking money from a system that you certainly owed. So in that scenario, if you wait until 70, you just got to hope you have a long life expectancy. At least make it to, I think, do we have that up here? No. I think the crossover point for Social Security is around 81, 82, so it's a little bit later than that other crossover scenario we had. But I mean, that's, again, general life expectancy for a male, I think, is around 80. A woman, it's about 82, 83. So that's, again, as we sit now, that's the general life expectancy. Do we think technology is going to get better over the next 20 years? Do you guys remember what the first iPhone looked like? Holy moly, okay? Now it's like, it basically has a projector on everything and HD, and you can watch movies and whatever, okay? So I would argue that, yes, health technology is going to prosper over the next 20 years, okay? This is the part where, unfortunately, there's not a rhyme or rhythm. It's based on your values, okay, how your health is, and the way you view the world on, hey, you know what, I'm happy to be alive now. If I can collect a check, I'll take it. So again, there's math that needs to be put in behind it, but then there's also the unknown factors that you have to kind of take with a grain of salt to make this decision. Okay. So why do so many people take it early? Well, fear, right? Fear people that they will run out of money. Last year was the first year, so 2019 was the first year we actually stopped running out of surplus. All right, so that's a little scary. So up until, again, the beginning of this year, we were collecting more than we were paying out. All right, this is the first year where we're collecting less than what we're paying out. So that's scary. Now we do have a lot of reserves. Good thing is the government planned for this to happen. Bad thing is I don't think they have a solution to what's going to happen between now and 2034. It's 14 years. I know it's kind of a lot of time, but not really when it comes down to a $1 trillion pension system, essentially, is what Social Security is. Okay? So if we do not change any, I guess, funding laws, whatever you want to call it, it is set to run out of money in 2034. Because as we speak, the folks that are employed do not pay enough to pay the people who are retired collecting Social Security. So one of two things, maybe we need to have another baby boom, which could be, maybe it's the COVID boom, I don't know, we'll see, we will see. But something needs to happen other than just population, because at that time, only 75% of the people working are going to make up the income generating Social Security. So that means we're literally missing 25% of income that, as we speak, we're currently paying to folks. That's a big delta, okay? If you're in a business meeting and someone goes, yeah, we're losing 25% this year, people are going to jump out off the screen, okay? So I'm not trying to downplay. This is a serious issue, all right? That's why I said you couldn't pay me enough to fix it, because I don't know. I really don't know. But it's something to keep in mind, and I will say, at least folks who are sitting here thinking, I hope I get out before 2034 so I can get a Social Security check, right? And this is, again, personal belief. I don't know how the heck they would just all of a sudden say, oh, wait, you're retiring this year, so sorry, you don't get Social Security. I don't know what that looks like. But it looks like riots in the street, if you ask me, because everyone's going to, that's a bad analogy too, because of all the stuff that's going to cause people to go crazy, right? I mean, if you're paying into something, you want to get something out of it, okay? So again, I'm not sure what that looks like. But it's something we're going to keep educating you guys on year to year. Say, hey, what does it look like? Have we made up the difference? Okay? That sort of thing. All right? The benefit is the same anyway. All right? Social Security doesn't reduce your benefits to punish you. They do it based on actuarial tables. All right? So they're not punishing anyone. And that's why I don't like the word reduction, because it makes it look like you have to wait. Oh, I have to wait until 70 because I'm getting reduction. That bad word, right? But really, it's just based on how long they think you're going to live. So if you wait longer to take it, they're going to pay you more because you're closer to death, essentially. So you'll see life expectancy for a 62-year-old is 83 and a half, and life expectancy for a 66-year-old is 84 and a half, essentially. So they're just saying that, based on those, basically, depending on when you take Social Security, you're basically getting the same benefit anyway, right? I mean, if you live for the same amount of time, I know at 66 we're collecting it for less long, but we live less long and we get a bigger payout. 62, while we're collecting it for longer, it's a smaller payout, okay? Again, I don't know where you fall in this, but that's why I'm throwing it at you, okay? There's no way I'm going to make a decision on when you collect Social Security today. But if you live to the average life expectancy, isn't the lifetime benefit the same anyway? Perhaps. That's why you got to start looking past life average, okay? Where do you think my health is going to fall, and what do I care about? The biggest reason why people actually take Social Security, though, is because they can't afford it. They can't afford not to. And it's because the lack of education in the retirement system, not just federally, but nationally, is extremely poor, okay? And there's a reason that you see these stats up here. The average balance of savings within the age group of 56 to 61 is $163,000. And what makes it worse is the median amount of retirement savings in that age group is $17,000, okay? In some cases, sure, that's those people's faults, sure. But in other cases, I argue it's the lack of education, because what happened during this age group's careers is you switch from a pension system. Parents had pensions, you work 40 years at the same company, you get a pension, all right, to, and again, where you just had to go to work, they took it from you, you left work, and your check followed behind you because you had a pension. And somewhere halfway in between there, they said, hey, we're going to roll out this thing called a 401k. A couple years later, we're going to roll out a Roth. Crickets. They didn't say, hey, here's a 401k, here's what you do with it, here's maybe some companies are going to match, here's why you want to put into this. They just threw it out there, right? And so maybe a few years later, they started to come back on the education side of things. But that's why I really think the statistic is here, is because we threw out a new retirement system, a new way for our country to essentially retire. We didn't really educate people on it. So there were years there where people had 401ks, maybe matching 401ks, that they didn't understand the benefits and how to maximize. Not to mention, they grew up right on a pension household. Maybe your parents retired with pensions. So it just wasn't that mentality that you were even taught to, hey, I got to maximize my TSP or maximize my 401k. It just wasn't something that was the norm, okay? So now, where it was all the employer's responsibility, it's all your responsibility now. You guys are a little bit special because you have a little bit of a helping hand from the pension, but there's a heck of a lot more responsibility on yourselves, okay? So again, this is the reason why, if this is the average savings, people need that Social Security check. They have no other way to provide an income, all right? The other is lack of knowledge, right? Really don't know thoroughly of their Social Security options. Maybe they're getting misinformation at the Social Security office. Goodness gracious, I hope not. Because usually on this slide, what I say, and I still to this day have my clients when they're getting ready to sign up for Social Security, we're good at Social Security. We understand the benefits very well. But guess what? I don't have a Social Security computer. I can't look into the inner workings of your situation, and is there a widower's check out there or an ex-spouse's check that you should be receiving that you're not? So I always, that's why I'm a little bummed that I got that misinformation there from that particular source, because I've been telling my client, hey, one, they're good at what they do. And two, after we're done here with our meeting, you're going to call Social Security and set up an office with them, or a meeting with them. Because I want to make sure if we're signing up for Social Security, hey, you got to hear it from the source. Got to make sure that, again, I can't see it all. So I do always send my clients to the Social Security office at that, whenever that stage is in their life, to actually make an appointment. I guess now it would be a phone call, because they can see things that the general population can't. And traditionally, from all the experiences I've heard, they are good and they know their stuff, okay? So I'm hoping that was just a miscommunication there. Other benefits, all right? We have spousal benefits, okay? You must be 62 or over. Your spouse must have filed for their retirement or disability benefit. And you had to have been married for at least a year to qualify for spousal benefits on a new spouse's work history, okay? So what this is your spouse is entitled to half of your Social Security check, okay? In some cases, again, real world example, I think of, someone having a working career early, so you earn your own Social Security check, but then kids happen, right? And healthcare is really freaking expensive, so it's cheaper for maybe one of the parents to stay at home than pay someone to take care of them, okay? And so over that career, all right, now all of a sudden you get back to work and your personal Social Security check isn't as high because, again, you took a sabbatical to help raise the kids, right? So in some cases, when you're doing the math, let's say I worked a full career, whatever, 30, 40 years, had a fairly good income, so my Social Security check's high, right? Yeah, my spouse didn't get to put in the full 40 years, all right? So while she might receive a check, her full check is less than half of mine, okay? It would make sense at that point to go in, sign up for my full Social Security check, and have my spouse collect half of mine, okay? It's a math thing, but understand that your spouse is entitled to half of your Social Security check. Figure out what your spouse's Social Security is, and if half of yours is more than what their personal Social Security is, guess what you're doing? You're taking a spousal benefit, okay? So that's just easy math, and I want you guys to understand that your spouses and each of you are entitled to each other's Social Security check, or half of it, as long as you've been, married for at least a year, okay? So that's a pivot play in some cases, all right? Divorce spousal benefits as well. You'll notice you must be 62. The ex-spouse must be 62 over as well. You had to be married for at least 10 years, not remarried and divorced for at least 2 years if your ex has not filed for their own retirement or disability benefit. Okay, so again, that's why part of the reason, and you should be aware of this, but part of the reason why I want to tell folks to go to the Social Security office is, hey, make sure that you're collecting the most benefit you should be based off of your spouse, current spouse, ex-spouse, your own personal. Just make sure there's nothing hanging out there where you could be getting more, but you're not. The answer is no unless you ask, okay? It's always no unless you ask. So please ask. We have widower survivor benefit. You're gonna be bleeding out of the ears with all these different survivor benefits. So widower, because it's, of course, an early passing, you only have to be 60 to collect that. And as long as you did not remarry prior to age 60, you had to have been married for at least 9 months. Depending on your year of birth, the full retirement age used in calculating your survivor benefits can be 4 months earlier than the full retirement age used in calculating your retirement and spousal benefits. Okay, and that's just a note from Social Security there. Divorced widower survivor benefit. I feel like I've got a tongue twister. Anything with widowers, you're allowed to collect at 60. Okay, again, because it's early death, they're giving you a benefit earlier. Again, widowers, think of, I had to have been married to this person for at least 10 years, okay? And I did not remarry before 60. Those are the 3 biggest rules when it comes to any widower's benefit, all right? So people can't go on and get remarried, collect a check, get remarried, collect another check. They could be making a killing off of Social Security if they didn't have that rule in there, all right? Social Security doesn't need any more loopholes because, as you can see, we're already running out of money as is. And then this is spousal benefits if you have a child or retired worker in your care. Can be any age to collect a spousal benefit if your spouse has filed for their retirement or disability benefits. The children must be under the age of 16. And if one or more is disabled, they can collect regardless of their ages as long as that was prior to the age of 22. Okay. Again, this is a spousal benefit for a child or retired worker in your care. Mother-father benefits if you have a child of your deceased spouse, okay? We do have a few clients in this scenario. So there is, again, these are some pivot plays, but there's one client where, of course, they're taking care of a tough situation, but there's another where, I think it's on the next page here, somewhere in there, child benefits. I'll go back, don't worry. And so we actually have a client right now, again, they started later in life, but because he's past full retirement age and he has 2 kids under the age, I forget, maybe one's 12, the other's 13, 14 now, he's collecting Social Security checks, okay? Obviously for himself, because he's over the age of full retirement age, but because he has 2 young kids under the age of 18, he gets a check for both of them as well, okay? Now again, hey, maybe that's part of the problem with Social Security, but I'm just helping people understand the laws and how you use them, okay? So again, that's just one scenario, but there are people collecting checks for kids. Mother-father benefits if you have a child of your deceased spouse, okay? Again, kind of similar situation there. A divorced spousal benefit if you have a child of your retired Social Security, okay? Kind of same situation, all right? I'm not going to dive into all those spousal benefits or make your head spin, all right? I think the only bad news I'm going to give today, Social Security is taxed. It is taxed, okay? Depending on your adjusted gross income, which this means they're counting everything. They're counting pensions, investment income, everything like that, okay? Adjusted gross income, if you make more than $25,000 to $34,000 a year, you pay 50% of your Social Security check is taxable. I had to make sure I worded that right. I didn't want people saying 50%, half of my check I pay taxes on. No, only 50% of that number is actually taxable. Where I feel most of us will probably end up being, though, is right about here. If you make more than $34,000, again, this includes pensions, investment income, up to 85% of your Social Security check is taxable. All right, federal government is going to take taxes from your Social Security check. I was waiting for someone to say, how does that happen? I thought they wrote no double taxation. Isn't that in there somewhere? I thought we wrote that down somewhere. Okay. And I've had many people challenge me, Patrick, that's double taxation. It's like, I guess the way we would define it, sure. I'm not sure how the lawyers define it. And apparently they're pretty good, darn good at what they do, because we find a way to make this work. Okay, so yes, we pay a Social Security tax into the Social Security system, and when we get that check, we pay taxes on the income that they're giving to us. All right. I don't know what else the double taxation is, but apparently my views of it are different. All right. So again, just be aware. Have to plan for taxes on your Social Security. Okay. So to summarize, I guess I went through that a little fast. I thought we had okay. So to summarize, maximize the value of your FERS pension. Okay. So between your annual leave, sick leave, make sure you understand where you stand in relation to your service computation dates. Okay. Because again, if you have a few months hanging out there, or a few days hanging out there, understand, okay, I got to work a little bit longer, or I got to take a month off. I don't want to lose, all that time that I've put into the government. Okay, we want you to get as much credible service as possible based on the time you're putting in. Please use the Social Security resources to project benefits. Or please sign up for an analysis report, okay? Anyone who came to this class today has no excuse not to understand their numbers, okay? Either one, you do it yourself. Maybe some of you have a financial advisor. Fantastic, okay? But if you're sitting here today, do not know your numbers, your needs, your wants, what am I taking home now in comparison to what I'm going to take home in retirement? If you don't know that answer sitting here right now, you need to find out. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about a week from now. You need to find out as soon as possible, okay? You can do that through some calculators online, or of course there's a kind of a neat sample portfolio or report we have in your packet there, okay? But this is kind of, again, what I'll leave some of you guys with here is please go find out that number. You're giving an opportunity right here by attending this class, all right? But if you don't want to take us up on that, perfectly fine. Just please make sure you go do your homework. I cannot want you to retire more than you want to, all right? Just because we know what we're talking about does not mean we actually want to have everyone retire. We need you to be the driver, okay? So you have got to drive your retirement decisions. And most importantly, understanding the impact of what you have is going to make those decisions. Understand the impact of survivor benefits. Most importantly, what's important to you? That's how you make a survivor benefit decision. What is important to me? Do all I need to worry about is my spouse? Hey, kids, forget about it. Okay, it's fine. Make sure we don't unintentionally disinherit heirs, family members, grandkids, kids. Okay, if the goal is to leave something behind, make sure you're choosing the right plan to do so. Understand Social Security and how, of course, that's related to actuarial science, the amount of time you're going to be walking and living on this earth, okay? and understand the values that you place on a dollar. That's going to help you obviously make your decision on when I collect Social Security. Am I leaving money behind? Am I not making as much as I should? You know, some of those things maybe you value more than others, okay? And understand that the impact of taxes on direct income, okay? Specifically, those kind of coincides with survivor benefits, is understanding that when you leave a survivor benefit, taxes, deductions, all those things are going to come out of it on the federal side. So we have to be prepared for, hey, I want to make sure that my spouse is actually receiving the actual number we discussed. Make sure you are accounting for taxes, okay, on our direct income, all right? Other than that, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll get into the TSP section. I will share one of my, it's become a horror story now of how I really screwed up the Tesla investment I made. Okay, and now you're thinking, could you possibly screw that up? We'll talk about that. That's a personal story of mine. Okay, I'm still kind of like stomping my feet about it. And as to why I don't manage my own money anymore. Chris will get into the insurance section. Hammer him with questions, okay? I mean, I would tell you if I was teaching the class too, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm picking on Chris, but that's one of the sections that I really view as the benefit because of how many decision points you have to make regarding your health insurance, okay, the FEHB. So please, it's in the morning, right? We're not gonna, so you should be awake, have the cup of coffee, all right? Maybe I'll tell Chris to bring a whole cup of Starbucks or one of those big packs, okay? Other than that, guys are free to go. I always hang out for questions, answers, that sort of thing. So I'll be here for a few to, if anyone wants to run anything by us or talk any questions. But Chris will be here first thing in the morning, and then I'll be here tomorrow afternoon, just like we did today.